Alright, this is a review of a game called Hawaii, which has been out for a couple of years and has become somewhat infamous for the famous tossing off the building review by Tom Vasel, which probably hurt the sales of this game quite a lot, which is unfortunate. But good news is the game is coming back into print, and which is nice and it's kind of surprising in a way. I'm not sure. I must have sold decently despite the dumpster shot. But so I'm going to go over the game a little bit. It's been out for a while. There's been other reviews of how to play. Let me get rid of that tile back to where it belongs. A couple tiles on the board. It shouldn't be out. Anyways, these are the player boards. You start with one of these player boards, and you're basically going to build out your tiles on these boards, in a sense, like a spreadsheet, as Tom Vasel said. But I will add, Ken Kingsburg, a game he really loves, is also a spreadsheet, so I don't understand what the problem is there. But anyways, when you build these rows out, you have to start from this end and you build out this way. And you have to put in a building for each of the space below before you can build on it. You can't just jump from here all the way to the bottom. You have to have buildings going down here before you can build out on the bottom. So it begins to build out. The buildings themselves do a variety of things. There are several commodities in the game. There are feet which allow you to move around on the board. Shells allow you to buy tiles, and fruits allow you to move or buy tiles with. There are the space in here lets you buy fruit, which will give you more fruits later on. These buildings get you feet to move around and shells at the end of the round. This is a scoring type of a tile. It gives you points for every building you have in the row that this is in. These are the gods of the island, and this god, if you can build it, will give you a point for every one of these shells that you get and a foot. And this particular one gives you points for each fruit that you have. These tiles are placed on the board on the side here, and when you have reached, in order to score a row, it has to reach where these tikis are. And you can actually buy them and move them this way so you don't have to go as far out, but once you reach the point, your row reaches the point, everything that normally scores points would score points at that point. So if you have these and you have your row long enough, you can get points of 5, 10, 10, and 15 if you fill these up, and they fill up from top to bottom. You have boats and surfers here. The boats allow you to buy from down here, these little islands to get out to, and the surfers reduce the amount that you need of shells at the end of the round. At the end of the round, when you have no more moves that you can make, and you return back home here to the start board, if you have this number of shells that you pick up as you go along, as you buy things, and I actually took that off the board. That's supposed to be there, and that was supposed to be up here. Actually up here. But if you have that many shells, you will get one of these points here. If you have the most of them, you get 8, second most 5, third most 2, and it changes each round. The number of shells you need increases. It gets up to 17 by the end of the round. There are ways to reduce the number of shells you need, and that is through these surfers. This scores you for the number of fruits you have in a row. This building gives you points for each shell that has one of these red shells with looks like swords on them, and this one allows you to be able to mix and match commodities. For example, normally you can only use either fruits or shells to buy. You can only use one or the other, but that building allows you to mix them. And these reduce how long you have to have your row before it scores. So you can build these out here to reduce how long it is. The other thing you can do is if you pay, when the price that these cost are these tokens. So if you go here, you pay the cost and you get the token. The next person who goes there has only the choice between the 4 and the 5 to do. If you pay double the cost, you get the back side of the tile, and it's usually it's double whatever the tile was, but there are differences. This one, double the fruits. This building, double it would be 2 points per. Doubling the boat gives you an extra foot every time you use it, and so forth. Doubling these just allows you to buy 2 instead of 1 at the same time. So those are some of the things that you can do. So I'll give you a quick example of a round. I'll take my red player and put him out here, and I want to buy a fruit. I will pay a foot to move, and I will get a fruit. I'm actually going to pay double to get the other side. So I pay 4 shells. I'll trade in a 5 and get 1 change back. And I get to keep this. So I have 2 towards my 9. Blue player goes. Blue player is deciding he's already got these shells because they were supposed to already be on the board here. I think that's where I had them before. So blue's going to come out here and also do the same, buy that for 4. And he's going to get the flip side of that and put that out on his board over here. Back to red. Red is going to foolishly overpay and buy one of these boats for 6. So I can show you what the boats do. You already start the game with this one, but it only has 2 feet, which means that you can only get the space out here, which I was supposed to fill up with some of the leftover shells in the game, which I forgot to put out. Those shells are there so that if you don't have enough if you don't have enough shells, you can get these. Sometimes there'll be nothing out there, and sometimes there'll be a few. Depends on how many of these tokens are placed out there. So whatever, it might be there are a lot are placed out here, so there's not much left over. There is a formula for how you place these out, and I'll kind of get into that in a little bit. So I'll just throw out 2 there for fun. So you can go here and pay 1 foot for each one of these tokens you get, and that's why this boat is useful. But all these spaces have at least 3, so the only way to get there is with one of these larger boats that has 3 feet. You have to pay that many feet to go here. This is 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll make the blue player go. He wants to go over here and buy this for 3. So he'll pay 3 shells. He moved 2 spaces. He's going to pay 2 feet. And I think I forgot to pay feet for my red player. When he moved up, he was supposed to pay 2 feet. So we'll get this some change there. And blue is going to pay 3 money to buy one of these point scoring things. And that will go up here. Now red is going to come down here to this space. He wants to get one of these tiles. And he's got to use his boat. And this boat can take 3 feet, and it costs 3 feet to go there, so I will pay 3 feet. My boat flips over because my boat's used, so I'm going to tap it. Or turn it. I'm not supposed to use the word tap. It's like Magic the Gathering or something, right? And that means I get one of these. So I will get one of these tiles that gives me 2 points for each building I have in that row, and I'll put that out. Blue is going to go... How much money's he got left? 3 shells. Could overpay and go back over here. Let's do that. It's going to cost me 2 feet. It didn't cost red any feet to go back to the beach. It never costs you money to go all the way back to the beach. Only as you're moving around the island. So I'm going to pay 2 feet. Get change. Coming over here. Grabbing a shell for 3. Which I have. And I'll get a foot this time. Just a single foot. And I'll put that on my island. Red has a foot left and 3, but that is not enough to get anywhere up on the island. I only have 8, so I'm not going to make the points unless I take the second player marker and I will get this shell that is out for 2. So that will give me 10, and I'll be able to score some points on this marker. Blue now has 2 fruits left and 3 feet. But there really isn't anything I see on the board they can do. I have 3, 6, 7, 8. I think what I'll do is I'll pick up one of these. So I'll use my boat, I'll use a foot, and I'll pick up one of these. That's going to give me 11. Because that's added to the total cost of total that I have on my shells. So now I have 11. I'm going to be ahead of red, so that means I'll get the first place. And now, since red has stopped and has ended down here, I'll go here, and I will be the first player. I will get 8 points. Red will get second place, 5 points. So red's 5, blue is 8. At the end of the round, then you look at your board. These are end of game scoring. They're not going to score till the end of the game. But now you look at any commodities that you get. I've got 2 fruits, so I would be getting 2 fruits to start the next round in addition to what is here. I'll be getting 10 shells, 6 feet, and my extra 2 fruit. This player is going to get extra 2 shells and a foot in addition to the 10 shells and 6 feet. These slide down, another island will come out, and a new round will begin, but these tokens get cleared before a new round begins. And the prices fluctuate. So what happens now is you'll be drawing randomly out of a bag, and it's got a bag. You put the tokens back in a bag. And you draw them out one at a time. And if the number, for this one, I have to draw a token that is 5 or less, or it doesn't not appear. I have a 4, so that goes out. Now here I have a 2, that goes out. I have a 6, that goes out. And let's say I pull out a 6. 6 plus 2 plus 6 is greater than 12, therefore this does not come out. So there's only 2 spaces available now here. And that rule continues. So 4 goes here, and I pull out another token. 4 plus 2 is 6, which is less than 9, so that space will be out. And continue to place those out until they're all out, and then the leftovers go here as potential to buy, and then you continue the game again. This changes according to the placement down here, and then the next tile comes out. So now we need 11 shells, and you can also see you will be getting 8 shells and 5 feet at the next round. So you're getting less and less every round. And the play continues like that until the game ends. Alright, what do I think of the game? I think this is an excellent game. I know that Tom Vasel doesn't like it. He threw it off the building. And Joel Eddy from Drive-Thru Reviews has it on his blacklist. And I think if I understand, some of his rationale is part of these price fluctuations makes it difficult to know what may or what may not be available in the next round. So there is that element, a little bit of an element of luck as to, or gets in the way possibly of what your long-term planning is. I personally would have to say to that is you have to have a long-term plan, but you also have to be tactical in nature, because there may be opportunities that come out that you want to grab. If these two tiles, when they come out, they're often really sweet deals and you want to grab them, but you may have a long-term plan. But you also can't wait till the final round to have your entire plan come together. There are several ways to win this game. I'll often play building up long rows here, long rows across these single or double rows going across, and then getting these high scoring point tiles and trying to score lots of buildings. Other players will try and go down the row here and try and get these large scoring points at the bottom, and then fill in some other areas and try to get points that way. It often depends on what comes out at the beginning of the game. That can dictate, sort of lead you towards choices. If a lot of these are on the bottom row and you are first player and you have an opportunity to start getting a lot of these, that might change what you might do. Getting a couple of these boats and then being able to hit these islands, especially this 9-point down here, can be another way to get a lot of points. I've played games where I've gone for a lot of these. I had one game where I had like 6 or 7 of these things on the board. And I nearly beat a pretty good player on, what was it, Yucata or Board Game Arena. I think that one was on Board Game Arena. But that was just a silly strategy. But it actually almost worked. Let's see, what else we got? What else can I say about this game? The big appeal to me in this game is that the turns are quick and fast. I'm a fan of games. I like a variety of games. Games that, medium weight games where you can make a move, do what your thing is, turn done, next player go. Think about what you're doing. Next turn comes around, you're pretty sure you know what to do. Yes, somebody could go on your space. It might make a little bit of a difference, but most of the time, you have your couple of choices as other people are moving, what you're going to do. Once your turn, you make your move and go. At the end of the game, there's a little bit more calculating out because you're down to a couple of fixed moves. But overall, the game has a pretty fast pace to it. I like that. Other games that this compares to. Well, strangely, in a sense, it does remind me a little bit of Russian Railroads, in the sense that turns are very quick in Russian Railroads. You only have your one guy that you're placing out, but it is a worker placement game, and for all practical purposes, you're taking the space away from other people when you're doing it. Russian Railroads, you're playing tons of workers out on the board. What I like about this, though, is that it has a modular board setup, and that is the fault of Russian Railroads, is there isn't a modular board, there are only fixed tracks. And after you play that game 5 or 6 times, it really begins to go stale. And I'll probably do a review of Russian Railroads and talk about that a little bit more. It probably fits in with a lot of the other games, like there's the Hans im Glück type games. It has a feel like some of those other games, like possibly like Finca and I'm trying to think, Vikings perhaps, though I prefer this game to both of those. I prefer this game a lot to both of those games. I think this has got a little bit thicker in what you can do. But overall, I think this is an excellent game. It's been beat up a little bit, but it's an excellent game. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It's fairly quick. Another complaint that people have is, oh, I have to clear these all out and place them out each round. I don't think it's that difficult to do, and I think it adds that tactical element to the game where you're not sure what's going to be out there and you have to be able to adjust to the opportunities on the board. So I think if it didn't have that, it would become more of a you could math this game out probably from round one, and I don't want to play a game that I can math out. I don't know how many rounds there are. 5, 6 rounds in a game, because I know what each price is, I know where I'm going to be in turn order, I know what I'm going to be able to get. But these are nice components. The board is really nice, and these pieces are really nice. So I don't know what the pricing is going to be of the reprint. And all these pieces are nice. It really is. The components are great. Can't complain about that. So definitely a good one to pick up. Highly recommend. Hawaii.